Welcome to Wilder Ranch State Park. In this video, I will be talking about a 10-mile hike that has about 900 feet elevation. I like to do this hike in counterclockwise directions. So we climb the mountain first and then the last 4 miles when we are a bit tired, then it's just a flat walk along the beach. It's a fun hike with a variety of views on this trail. It starts with the ranch, then we get the views of the mountains. Then we see the ocean from top of the mountain. Then we get to walk along the coast, so a beach view right there. Some beautiful and artistic rocks and cliffs. And then towards the end, there is a vegetation farm. Let's start with some information about the parking. We came to this park at around 12:30 p.m. and there were still a few parking spots available. So the parking does not seem to be much of an issue here. The parking fee is $10. There were a lot of cars parked outside the park entrance also along the highway, but that might add about 1 mile distance to the hike. There are two ways to start the hike. If you go towards this entrance where you might see some trucks parked, then you will be doing this hike in clockwise direction. But if you want to do this hike in counterclockwise direction, then look for the restrooms and such signboards. From here, we want to walk towards the park store. There's this welcome sign which has a little map of the park as well. Once you walk about 0.1 mile from the parking, you will see this road. We want to take a right from this bigger road and walk towards these buildings where there is also a visitor center where we can get a map and some information that we want. Some perks of visiting this park in the spring season is to see wildflowers on the trail and some not so wildflowers near the visitor center. This trail starts with a ranch, and the Sherlock Holmes in me says that the name must be Wilder Ranch. If it's your day, then you may find a few animals soaking the sun in the open. The sign here says, "Do not feed the animals." Well, it's a 10-mile hike. I only have enough feed for myself. I did not bring extra for the animals anyways. Do we take a ride? Do we take the tunnel? I say we take the tunnel. Not many state parks in Northern California allow bikes on all the trails, and that's why this park is one of the Bay Area's most popular off-road cycling destinations. We saw a lot of e-bikes, and hats off to the people who were on the regular bikes. Now here we are going to my second favorite spot of the whole hike. Almost at the highest point of this mountain, there is this vista point that has a bench. It's a perfect location to take a break, have some snacks with ocean view across the hill. Some other activities that can be done in this park are horseback riding, camping, but this camping is only available to the people with horses, and so they call these equestrian campsites. In the cultural complex, visitors can explore 1897 Victorian home, barns, farmhouse, water-powered machine shop, gardens, and discover the history of early ranchers and farmers through tours. You can also request a group tour of the ranch that needs to be booked at least 2 weeks in advance. One of the main reasons I came to this park in spring season was to see the fields full of wildflowers because of the photos being shared online. But this was my expectation versus reality moment because the flowers here were pretty scattered, not as dense as I was expecting them to be. There are a lot of alternative routes as these trails intersect all over. It is easy to get confused at some points, especially if you're doing a trail like this, which is a combination of 4 trails: Wilder Ranch, Baldwin, Ohlone Bluff, and Old Cove Landing Trail. So to avoid getting lost, you might want to cross-check with the map at such points. Good thing is that there is a good network connection on this trail, and so you can always refer to the online map and don't have to rely on the paperback map provided at the park. Just bring your phones fully charged here. To talk a little bit about the history, this area was housed to Native Americans The Ohlone Indians lived here for over 4,000 years. In 1800s, the ranch was created by a Mexican land grant who named it Rancho Refugio. This ranch was then purchased by the Wilder family, who later sold it to a developer who wanted to build houses and commercial buildings here. But public opposition prevailed and the California state purchased the property in 1975. The park was finally opened for public use in 1989. Some portions of the path are pretty rough and uneven, which makes this an interesting hike, but definitely not a stroller or a wheelchair-friendly trail. In the name of wildlife, we saw this birdie, this little guy, this beautiful creature that's crawling slowly, and the beetle. This trail is almost a no-shade trail, but the good thing is that it is windy here most of the time. So it does not feel hot, but keeping a hat, sunscreen, lots of water is still a good idea if you're coming here on a sunny day. Since this is near to the coast, it can get foggy on some days, especially during summer, so the view might not be as great on those days. So checking the weather app before coming would keep the expectations right. Look at that, I can almost see wind in this video. There is one easy hike here with 100 feet elevation and 2.4 miles, but most of the hike here are of medium and hard difficulty level with 900 feet, 1200 feet and 1700 feet elevation. I'm a very slow hiker. I generally take a lot of stops to take pictures, snacks, and sometimes just to take a break. And I completed this hike in about 6 hours. But I think that this hike can be completed in about 4 to 5 hours with decent speed. Once you have come to this part of the trail where there is this house and this boat parked, that's when you know that you have come down from the mountains, and from here it's gonna be a flat walk across the Pacific coast. Once again we come to this intersection where either we have a choice to walk on the road or on this trail. So we started walking on the trail, but then I got a bit scared because there could be a snake or some other small animal hidden somewhere in the bushes. So I came back and took this bigger road instead. Now this is going to be one of those Tom Cruise movie moments where I feel like I'm doing a brave stunt because this is a pretty busy freeway and we have to cross it. So I look to my right, I look to my left, and then we
run.
Yes, we made it. We are alive. There is this car parked here with a tent. And the funny thing is that it's parked right where it says, "Do not block the gate." Anyways, so this is the gate where it might feel that you are not on the track, but you just need to hop it and then you are going to be back on your trail. And I know that I'm on the right trail now because I am going to check this board that says Wilder Ranch State Park. Here is this railway crossing, and once again, Tom Cruise moment, look at your right, no train, good sign, and then look at your left, no sign of a train, and then
run.
Well, I checked for the train while I was standing on the track. How would you rate my intelligence on a scale of 0 to 10? Oh, come on, it was an old track. You know what? Never mind, I'll take the 0. Now we are heading towards the most exciting part of the hike, that is a little walk on the beach. This is a beautiful beach. Too bad that the water is too cold to go inside the ocean. Now we are going to take this path back to the top of the cliff and then walk along the Pacific coast. Now this is the point where we have come to my favorite part of this whole hike. There is this point from which we could see the ocean, and then there is this beautiful tree. So this is a perfect spot to sit and have some snacks. After this point, this is just going to be an easy walk along the Pacific coast. Now that we have come nearer to the ocean and it is evening time, the wind here feels a little more chilly, So at this hike, I always keep in mind to bring layers and my beanie hat. Keep an eye for seagulls and sea lions at the bottom of these cliffs. And then this trail ends with a vegetation farm. One of these times we saw artichoke and Brussels sprouts growing there.